Hi there. Welcome to It's Wrestling Time post show and the WrestleManiacs podcast. It is Monday, April 8, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about the Raw After Mania. And of course, I'm not alone. Joining me is none other than fellow WrestleManiac, Josh.
Hey, WrestleManiacs, as well as Rangers of Wrestling fans. Tonight we're going to be reviewing the Raw After Mania, and I've got to say, Dodla, at least on the starting gate, to me, your intro, I'm telling you, every time I hear the music, I'm shaking my head, bobbing my head in the backstage, but it got so much energy, it's got me pumped every time. So kudos to you.
I appreciate that. I found this guy on Fiverr to make it. I told him to make it sound like Power Rangers, and he did an awesome job.
Phenomenal.
Yes, he did. Let's kick things off talking about this Cody Rhodes promo that kicked off Monday Night Raw. So, Triple H came out, and he basically introduced Cody Rhodes. He played this video package for Cody Rhodes, which was, detailing his career, and it cut to parts of Cody Rhodes, and you could tell he got super emotional. It was a very well made video package, and we've always talked about, that's the one thing that WWE does best. Their video packages are phenomenal. You cannot outdo WWE when it comes to video packages. So afterwards, he lays the ball, he kisses it, but before we can even continue talking, The Rock comes out. I do like the fact that he showed a video of his daughter Libby saying, finish the story. Mm-hmm. The Rock comes out, and the crowd was just not letting The Rock talk. They kept shouting stuff. The crowd got censored. They were chanting Undertaker. They weren't letting him talk. I think they were chanting shut the fuck up or something, because they kept that censor button just wouldn't stop going.
It reminded me almost of when Roman Reigns beat Taker for WrestleMania, and everybody was like, shut the... didn't say a word. And Rock, played to it. To me, I think he played to it a little too much, but again, that's part of the segment. But yeah, the crowd was not having it. You would have thought we were in Brooklyn.
Right? They were not having it. This whole segment lasted really long, 45 minutes. I don't know if that was the original plan or if it went overtime, but this was a really long segment. And the whole point of this segment was The Rock told Cody Rhodes that he was going to go away for a little while. And then the crowd was chanting na 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 na.
It was old school Raw.
Goodbye. This segment went way too long and stalling. I was like, well, somebody's going to get cut. Yep, that's true. It affected the order of the matches. You could tell.
The asshole chants were always nice. I was like, oh, we're going back to the Attitude Era now with that event. So it was great.
Yeah. So basically, the whole point of this is The Rock told Cody Rhodes, he's making him promise that regardless of whether he's champion or not, he's going to go after him. He wants a match with Cody Rhodes. He says that even though his story with Roman is over, their story is just beginning, which of course makes a lot of sense. The Rock beat the crap out of Cody Rhodes. He beat him like he owed him money. He kept antagonizing Mama Rhodes. This was a Vince Russo type segment.
Yes, bro.
But there was some interesting stuff here. For instance, we had this one spot where The Rock asked Cody Rhodes to hold his belt, to ask if they can hold belts. And it was this, I don't know, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing, because he was talking about how he's never held that belt, and Cody held the People's Champion belt. So they're definitely going to have a match down the line, maybe at SummerSlam, whenever The Rock gets back.
Title for title is what my guess would be. But yeah, the crowd chanting, this is awkward. Look, I get it, but it did remind me of having siblings being like, well, can I be player one for a little bit? All right, here you go, one match, and then give it back. It just, I get it. But again, I think a mixture of the stalling and The Rock kind of just for whatever reason, I don't know if he's waiting for reactions, but he's notorious apparently for going overboard, in overtime. And they never really tell him, because what are you going to tell The Rock? He's the, really the TKO board member. So they're really blending, I think, part reality into this, that Rock can do pretty much what he wants to.
Yeah, pretty much. And then at the end, he asks Cody to give his hand, and he tells him not to break his heart again. So
I didn't understand that. Like some people's theories are he's giving Dusty's, ring. Some people saying it's a watch. Some people saying it's part of Roman's. I can't say the name of the thing, but the necklace, right? But I mean, I don't know. I get the idea of the Rock winning championship, but to me, it's one of those. Cody should be like, I want to fight you tonight. I'm not going to wait for you to come back. I want to fight you now. So I didn't get that heat that, because then Cody Rhodes should have wanted more payback, even if he's champion. It almost seemed like the crowd expected The Rock to be gone after WrestleMania. That's what really appeared after, after he won. So I think people were expecting his story to be over too, because Rock's typical was, I have a match, I'm gone, see you later. Usually no fanfare.
No lie. I kind of thought when The Rock said, I wanted to give you something, I kind of thought he was going to have someone attack Cody Rhodes. I kind of maybe thought we were going to get the debut of Jacob Foot 2 and Tama Tonga here. Because I was like, wait, what's The Rock going to give him? But no, that didn't happen.
Or a rock bottom.
Io says, I bet it's the key to his tequila save.
That's good. I thought that, or I thought the way he was holding the championship like this in camera, I thought, okay, surely he's going to say, I got something for you, bam, and just blow him up again and saying, when The Rock comes back, I'm going to kick you. I would have rather had that. But, I mean, again, it's okay. I really wanted more heat from this. And The Rock challenging him, it should be like, no, I'm done with you. I don't want you. Because, I don't know. I didn't expect The Rock to be so aggressive. And wanting the title, yes, but to say whether you're champion or not, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Are you foreshadowing that you're going to cost him the title? And then Rhodes is really going to want to fight you? And then there's this whole battle of getting to The Rock. I don't know. I just thought it was a weird way to say it, let's just say.
Yeah, like this segment really didn't do it for me. This was not a great way to open Raw. The thank you Roman chance was nice. Makes me wonder what's next for Roman.
Yes.
I'll get to that right now. But yeah, so yeah, this could have had more heat. This is not a great way to open Raw. I was like, really? And it went on way too long. I did appreciate the thank you Roman chats, like Io said. And maybe what's next for Roman is a Bloodline Civil War storyline.
It's got to be. I really honestly was hoping that, Rock would have come out, because you got to think about it. Cody Rhodes technically beat Roman clean, but technically didn't because of all the interference. This should have been something like, Cody Rhodes, I'm coming for you. Now, granted, if they can't, make the Taker match, I get it. But it should have been like, Roman, you stupid son of a bitch. You shouldn't have. I mean, they could have planted seeds for the fact that Rock is mad that Roman Reigns lost.
Yeah.
And I was expecting some sort of dig, and there wasn't. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but who knows?
Maybe we'll get it on SmackDown. Who knows?
I hope so.
We'll see. So next, let's talk about this Drew McIntyre promo. So as we all know, Drew McIntyre defeated Seth Rollins, won the world title, but then lost it like 5 minutes, according to himself, 5 minutes and 46 seconds because of CM Punk. He blames CM Punk for this. And he calls his Money in the Bank a joke because it's cost him the title twice. Now, I hate to say this, but Drew has no reason to be mad at Punk. The only person he should be mad at is himself. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. If Drew would have just walked to the back, none of this would have happened. His obsession with CM Punk cost himself the title.
Although I have to say he did make a good point that, it's like the Money in the Bank has screwed me 2 times over. I thought that was a really good way of looking at history, because most of the time they don't really, that's what I've noticed. I've noticed a lot in the Triple H, Paul Levesque, whatever you want to call it, era, that they're really going real meta on some stuff. They're really kind of nodding to the past on a lot of different storylines, which I love. So, yeah, the Drew promo was good. I mean, the Drew is, he's been on fire. I'll be honest with you, after the WrestleMania night 2, I'm kind of like, damn it, I wish he would have stayed world champion, just because that's me, right? I mean, I get there's a story to tell, but I don't know. I still want a Drew as champion.
Io says, I think Drew went after McAfee during Jason Juicy's match. He should be mad at himself. Again, it's his own fault, but he doesn't want to accept responsibility for his actions. He'd rather just blame CM Punk.
Right.
So, the main event was a fatal 4-way #1 contenders match. It was Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed versus Ricochet. Now, I was a little confused as to why Drew McIntyre was in this, considering the fact that he should be given an automatic rematch since he was champion, even if it was only for 5 minutes. But the ending made sense. But before we get into that, I thought this was a really good match. It had some cool spots, like Ricochet doing that 450.
Oh,
to
yes.
Bronson Reed on the announce table. I really like the fact that Michael Cole and Pat McAfee brought up the fact that was a Spanish announce table, which is always gets destroyed. So
you could tell they're having fun out there now. You can tell that they're really being let loose and have the freedom to kind of reference stuff, to reference things that you wouldn't see before. I mean, look, I mean, we're getting just so much more detail and so much more interaction with different promotions and stuff that I'm really curious to see how this goes up. But the match itself, yeah, it was great. I mean, again, why Ricochet was in there, I kind of get it, kind of don't, but it was okay. I wasn't mad. I would have much rather had I would have much rather had a automatic rematch with Drew McIntyre. But then again, I don't think that rule is applied since the McMahons way back when said no more title rematches, no more. We're going to listen to the fans.
But this is a new era. This is a new era. So
right, but I don't think that's been established yet. Is what I'm saying. I think they're still keeping it from the old guard for now.
I'll get into that right now. Hold on.
Good.
So another spot that I liked was the double super kicks that Jey Uso and Ricochet did to McIntyre, and then the triple super kicks that them two, along with Bronson Reed, did to Drew McIntyre. That was great. And then they turned around and did the double super kicks to Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good to have them in the match because they needed some sort of flying bodies. But again, I don't know. I kind of just... It was very fast. I will say it was very fast. Like, we're going to establish the challenger right now, and this is where we're going. So...
He didn't get it. He didn't have an automatic rematch because he just went in for 5 minutes. Oh, that's true. So, Drew McIntyre had this match won, but CM Punk grabbed his foot and stopped him from doing the Claymore. And so this allowed Jey Uso to pick up the win. If Drew McIntyre was pissed before this match, he's even more pissed now.
I don't know. Now he has a legitimate gripe, though, because Punk kept it going. At least for me. I'm like, well, that's kind of a heel move to do. But I think they're going to start making Punk kind of like when Austin was injured in 97 or so and just have him kind of just run and do crazy stuff to Drew McIntyre and drive him crazy every week, which will be entertaining enough. So I'm good with it.
I think that one of the reasons why Drew isn't getting an automatic rematch either is because they probably want to give Damian Priest, a little ring here. And Drew McIntyre even mentioned that he called Damian Priest a transitional champion, which if you want to look at it that way, he kind of is, because I think that Drew will win the title back at Clash at Castle. Clash at Castle is what, June, I think?
Yeah, June. It makes total sense. It's in Scotland. It's in his home country. Will he be a face then? Who knows? We'll have to see how that's going to run. But regardless if he's face or heel, that crowd's going to go nuts for him. So
exactly. So I think that's when Drew's going to win it back. That's probably why they had Drew McIntyre, why they had Punk screw Drew McIntyre doing this, because they want to stall that rematch. Because think about it, if they give that rematch, Drew's probably losing.
Oh, easily. I mean, I don't mind Jey Uso as the number one contender, although now we know, at least you and I are talking about Drew McIntyre being there in June. It's like, well, we know Jey Uso's not going to win the world title unless they surprise us. They could. You never know. Yeah. It could be a short reign, but he was using insider terms. Not only transitional champion, but that's not the finish, brother. That wasn't the finish, brother. I'm like, oh, yeah, we're getting super meta now.
One last thing. I was a little surprised that Ricochet didn't win this. And the reason why I say this is because he's been having issues with Judgment Day. So I felt like that would have made sense. Because, Damian Priest told JD Madonna and Dominic Mysterio to take care of Ricochet. And they didn't. So I kind of thought, okay, Ricochet's going to win this. And Damian Priest is going to handle Ricochet. But that didn't happen. But Jey Uso also makes sense because you remember Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso won the tag titles off of Judgment Day. So it makes sense.
Right. I honestly thought that JD or Dom or one of them or both of them was going to come out and cost Ricochet the match. Like when he was going to do the 450, maybe they attack him after he hits him, knock him out. So the idea is they still screwed him over because they don't want Ricochet to have that world title match. And you can set up a triple threat that way. I mean, again, I wouldn't be mad having Jey versus Ricochet versus Damian because at least it doesn't hurt Jey and Ricochet can take the pinfall. That's what I would have, a triple threat, because they're both, it's going to be crazy anyways,
Yeah. All right. So after the opening segment, we get Shinsuke Nakamura versus a surprise Ilja Dragunov, the NXT World Champion, who had an incredible match against Tony D'Angelo on NXT Stand and Deliver here.
Right. I was surprised. I really was like, oh, okay. But then as soon as he came out, I was like, poor Shinsuke. That poor man.
So I was surprised too because I'm like, why are you putting Shinsuke in this match? He's going to lose because there's no way Ilja Dragunov is going to lose. I will say I did appreciate that he won. Ilja Dragunov won because in the past NXT call-ups have lost their debut match, which was not good. But this was good. This was a really great match. I felt for Shinsuke Nakamura. There was no way Ilja Dragunov could have lost this.
I wouldn't have been mad or so frustrated with it if Shinsuke had come out after Ilja won, spit the face, the mist in his face, gave him the Kinshasa, even if it's just to go back to NXT to help get him over. That I can understand, because Shinsuke versus Ilja can be a lot better than it was. And it was pretty good on Monday Night Raw. But I would have much rather had it be he's the next challenger. But again, they got Trick Williams in the wings, so, it is what it is. But I wouldn't mind a feud between them two if they got one. I wouldn't be upset as long as Shinsuke at least wins something.
Something like the crowd was behind Ilja. They were behind him. They were chanting NXT. Like, I guess people really do watch NXT. It's not like before. Honestly. It's really not like before.
Right.
So we get a Judgment Day promo, and they call Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley call themselves the Terror Twins because they do have matching belts.
Yeah.
Interesting that Dragunov is now part of the WWE draft. Yes, we'll talk about the draft in a little bit when we get to that part. Oh my God, tell me why Truth showed up with the tag belt saying that he brought the tag titles back to Judgment Day. This was hilarious. But I'm like, why are they doing this? I thought the whole point of them winning the tag titles was to end this storyline. Honestly, I feel like they put the trigger too quickly on the R-Truth storyline. Like, I feel like R-Truth was supposed to be the Sami Zayn to the Judgment Day's bloodline, but they ended it too quickly. They could have done so much more with it.
Look, to me, I mean, again, I don't mind Jey being the world, champion, but look, with Truth, again, he's a tag champion. I understand, he's got to defend it. If you're going to do something with Damian Priest, maybe have him lose it, right? But then maybe I wouldn't be upset if Truth ran for another world title. Now, he's not going to win it, but there's still history there. It makes sense for Truth versus Priest, and that would be a pretty good match, even if Truth loses. It doesn't matter. People believe in R-Truth, and they want that boy to at least win a match regardless. I mean, and could he be a world title contender? I mean, it's been a while, but look, I bought it whenever he was fighting John Cena back at Capital Punishment in 11. They made me really interested in him. So it was, for Damian Priest's first promo as a world champion, I needed more seriousness. And while seeing Truth is always a gift, regardless of where he is, it did feel a little out of place.
So this basically leads to a 6-man tag match. And I like the fact that Truth is like, it's going to be us two against a person you can't see. And Jimmy is like, is it little Jimmy?
Right. And you knew it was John Cena coming out, but it took a minute for him to come out there, though. I was surprised.
Yeah. So this 6-man tag match was at first a 2-on-1 handicap. Was a 3-on-2 handicap match, I should say. Because John Cena took his sweet time going out there. But I really like the fact that they did the triple 5-knuckle shuffles and the triple added to the Judgment Day. I bet R-Truth's childhood dream came true.
Right, which I still love that they keep that storyline going. I mean, look, Cena was probably busy trying to hide that bald spot, which you ain't hiding that bald spot. Might as well leave your damn cap on and fight. So that's what I thought he was late for. But it was a good surprise for the crowd. I mean, Philly didn't expect him there again because he's not been advertised. This is probably one of really, I mean, unless I'm wrong, this is one of the first WrestleManias John Cena was not advertised for, not really talked about. He said, I could show up, but there was never a John Cena is going to be at WWE World. Do you know what I mean? I don't remember seeing any press about him at all, which was unusual.
Yeah, that's unusual. But, John Cena revealed on the Pat McAfee show that he might come back for one final run next year.
Which would be okay with me. I'd be all right.
All right. We get a Bronson Reed promo, and he's basically just talking about this match tonight, but something interesting happened during the Bronson Reed promo.
Mm-hmm.
The screen kind of blurred, and it said hello right here. Hello. Which I thought was super interesting.
I didn't even catch the hello because it was so fast, and I was like, you have to slow it down, right? But they do this sort of thing with Bray Wyatt. I mean, could this be the return or re-debut, whatever you want to call it, of Uncle Howdy, or will we get a whole new character?
I think this is Uncle Howdy. I think this is their way to pay homage to Bray Wyatt. Bo Dallas coming back as Uncle Howdy.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it, because will Uncle Howdy have his own Fiend version? I mean, again, I'm waiting with bated breath, because that's a hard thing to do, especially getting to the mind of Bray Wyatt or Wyndham Rotunda, the character, because, I mean, he brought horror to the mainstream in WWE, where Taker did it, 30-something years ago. He evolved that thing. So, Bronson Reed's promo is okay, but again, everybody's going to be talking about Uncle Howdy's hello.
Yeah. All right, so then Rhea Ripley gets attacked by Liv Morgan backstage. I mean, Liv Morgan threw a chair. Liv is out for blood because Rhea Ripley's the reason why she was out for a year.
Which I like that. I really did like the spontaneity, because you were like, oh, what's that? Whoa, and then again, they did a good job with this segment. I mean, and probably not on purpose, but I think she hit her in the head or hit her pretty hard, like on the noggin. So it was a great kind of visual to see that sort of hardcore, I dare say 2000s backstage brawl, but it really felt like a brawl this time and not so produced.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because she was out for blood.
Yeah, that was a great thing.
We get Indi Hartwell versus Roxanne Perez, another NXT call-up, the NXT Women's Champion, who defeated Lyra Valkyria. That was a really good match. I enjoyed that match. And it's interesting that it's Indi Hartwell, because from what I've gathered, Roxanne Perez had to vacate the NXT Women's title, and Indi Hartwell won it in a ladder match.
A last year stand and deliver, yes.
Yeah, a last year
the same match she was in with her, mind you. And Roxanne Perez was in that match as well. She was having to fight for her own NXT title to get it back. So the idea that Indi stole it from her, basically.
And she even yells at her, "You never deserved my title."
I was really hoping, though, at the end, and again, I meant this is going to be a long-term storytelling. I was kind of hoping that Candice LeRae would have attacked her and be like, I'm the one that called Roxanne Perez up to get her revenge on you. Because it makes sense then at that point. But maybe that'll be revealed later on. Who knows?
Maybe this is a slow turn for Indi turning heel, because Candice tripping Roxy, that kind of cost her, because she was more concerned about Candice getting interfering in this match than she was about the match. Like, Roxanne Perez won this, which, her getting her revenge. And then at the end, when she's backstage, Nadia approaches her and tells her she'll see her tomorrow. I don't know about you. I kind of feel like the wrestling gods, Moose and JB, are trying to tell me something here with all these call-ups.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I have to laugh, because, I mean, Natalya kind of randomly showing up. It's like, I'm going to fight you next week. It's like, okay, cool. Roxanne Perez is probably one of the only heels that really actually is having a good day. Most heels don't have good days, but look, she won the title back. She got her revenge on Indi. I mean, who knows what's going to happen on NXT this week? We'll find out tomorrow. Which
you will be reviewing.
Yes, it will. And you'll be special guest tomorrow to help me out with that. So that'd be exciting.
Only tomorrow.
Only tomorrow.
So, afterwards, get a quick little backstage segment with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, and they basically tell each other that they're proud of each other. And they do their throwback handshake from their days in the Bloodline.
Right. It was a good little segment. I thought it was pretty nice little callback.
Yeah. So this leads into a promo that Sami Zayn does, and he's basically talking about Gunter, how Gunter was champion for 666 days. Not a good number.
Mm-mm.
And that no one can take that away from him. But, he talks about how he owes the fans thank you, his wife, his kid, and his brother KO, because he didn't believe himself, and they did, and they fired him up for the match. And of course, he was just about to thank Chad Gable when Imperium interrupts, and basically, you know where this is going, player. Holla.
Yep. Tag team match. Yep. With Chad Gable coming out to defend. They're setting it up, but I still just wanted to see Chad just, especially at the end of the match when he was running and going to do his rolling German. I was like, just do it to Sami. Just do it and do it already. But they still had to keep the story going.
Jumping too far ahead.
Sorry. I just got so excited for this match. It was actually a really good match.
I know. We get a Sheamus vignette, which I guess Sheamus is coming back.
Wonder what his hair is going to be like this time.
Yeah, and I wonder who I wonder if he's going to be on SmackDown with, New Catch Republic. There's a story there.
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that. That would actually be a great place for him to be on SmackDown. But they showed it on Raw, so who knows?
Yeah. And then we find out the draft Night 1 is on SmackDown April 26th, and Night 2 is on Raw April 29th. Like I mentioned earlier, Ilja Dragunov is a part of this draft. Cannot wait to see where everybody ends up, and hopefully this time around they respect the draft rules.
Oh, I hope so. Well, now that the tag titles are split, hopefully they do. And in the Universal, I mean, look, we probably, unless they send Priest to SmackDown, just send Cody over to SmackDown. It's time for SmackDown to get a little bit of a boost. But they might keep them on Raw. Who knows? We'll see where everybody goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So we get Sami Zayn and Chad Gable versus Imperium. This was a good match.
Yes.
But like you alluded to, maybe there's a little bit of a tease right there.
Mm-hmm. I was worried for Kaiser, though, in that match. When he got landed on his side, and you could tell yourself, ooh. I mean, he might have sold, but I was like, oh, I hope he didn't injure himself, because he looked like he held his arm for quite a while after that.
Yeah. Commentary alluded to the fact that Sami Zayn and Chad Gable make a great team, and they did. They were successful. They won this match after a haluva kick to Vinci and a chaos here by Chad Gable. And at the end, I think it's funny because at the end they go to the back, and Sami's like, "Oh, we're even now." Mm-hmm. Chad Gable's just looking at him like, "What are you talking about?" And Sami, basically, they're gonna have a match next week for that IC title in Sami Zayn's hometown. So I wonder if Chad Gable, if you're going to turn Chad Gable heel, next week would be the perfect time to do it. You want to know why? Because it's Sami Zayn's hometown. His wife and his son might be there. And guess what? Chad Gable's biggest gripe with Gunther was the fact that Gunther beat him in front of his wife and daughter and made his daughter cry, and then he laughed about it. I could totally see Chad Gable losing to Sami Zayn, and then at the end attacking Sami Zayn in front of his wife and son, because that, to get back, because in a sense Sami Zayn stole his moment. That was that should have been him.
I kind of want the same thing, but in a way, because Sami is so well protected, right? Because he's been champion, it's not gonna hurt him to lose it next week in Montreal. The Montreal screw job, whatever. I don't know how they would do all that, but I don't know. I kind of wouldn't be mad if Gunther came out, powerbomb Sami, so this is what you get for ending my reign, Chad. Here you go. And then I told you, just the idea of Chad joining Imperium just seems like a fun story to me. But I definitely think the heel turn will happen sometime next week. I hope so.
Chad Gable's definitely attacking Sami Zayn in front of his wife and kid.
Look at his facials. If you watch back his facials, they're not so happy. He kind of seems like he's like, I'm happy for you, brother. Really, I'm happy. You can tell the wheels are turning, which I think is a very subtle thing to do, but such a cool thing to see.
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's see. Sheamus has got to get the IC title reign, and apparently Cena is also an IC title short of Grand Slam too. It'd be interesting to see who can get it, Cena or Sheamus. I think Sheamus would probably get it first.
Yeah, Cena might have that last, he might just get it for a minute, but does he need it? I don't know. That's like making Taker the IC champion. I don't think he was ever Intercontinental champion either, or US champion. Does he need it? No.
So real quick, we get Jade. So just talking about he's going to give everybody a yeet down during the main event, which we already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So backstage, you see Andrade shaking hands with Adam Pearce, and I really like the fact that Nick on this was like, "Oh, well, good job recruiting him," and then he kind of alludes to the fact that, Adam Pearce did all this work, and Nick all this could potentially steal Andrade in the draft from him.
That's good. That's something that should be addressed. It's like, oh, you signed him for no reason. Great. Same with Jade. Jade could end up on a different show completely.
Ava Raine says you never know who can end up in NXT. And basically all this is that they put their differences aside for the betterment of the shows, which I feel like they were hinting at Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce. If not a match, maybe a Survivor Series match, Team Aldis versus Team Adam Pearce, but it seems like they dropped that.
Yeah, because I just think nobody buys that they're feuding. Nobody buys that. I mean, again, Nick is... I feel bad for him because, I mean, I don't want to say he's as well established with the WWE fans right now, besides him being the authority, right? Adam Pearce, we've all kind of seen him be just kind of this feckless authority figure, even with, even whenever Sonya Deville was with him. So really, it's just not the same. It's not the same type of thing.
Adam Pearce needs to get better control of the shows. Like Nick Aldis has the better handle over SmackDown than Adam Pearce does on Raw.
Right, and that's kind of why I think nobody buys the whole feud thing, because Adam, again, just isn't effective, and Nick Aldis is effective, but if you know who he is, it's great. But if you don't know who he is, you're kind of like, who's this British guy? Okay, that's cool. There's not really a story behind it. I mean, they could even tell now he was an accomplished wrestler, NWA champion, and now he's GM. I thought it was such a weird way they introduced him way back when.
Yeah. So Chelsea Green shows up, asking telling them that she wants her moment. She wants someone worthy of the spotlight. I like how she was like, Adam Pearce is like, yeah, we saw the email sex in the DMs.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. When Chelsea appeared, Pearce said, who wants to make a trade?
That was perfect.
That
but
was
Piper? Where's our girl Piper at? Where is the Jim Neidhart or the Bret Hart of this team? Where did she go?
I think she's had an injury. I don't know.
And see, I just her presence makes Chelsea Green so much more bearable for me.
So we find out that it's Chelsea Green versus Jade Cargill. This is a squash match, but okay, I have to say, I know I'm not the biggest fan of enhancement matches, especially in this type of in the sense that if you already have an established talent, there's no reason why they should be in spot and having enhancement matches. But this works. This works because Chelsea Green, say what you want about her, she can make anybody look good, and she's so good at what she does. Chelsea Green sold this because as Jade Cargill was picking her up, she was like talking smack. So she's a really good, really, really good at what she does, and I appreciate that. I like Chelsea Green. I hope that she becomes women's champion one day.
Yeah, the only thing I had a problem with is, again, yes, I get she's a utility tool to get Jade over. But again, I'm like, this is still a former tag team champion. But again, I understand the story. But again, I like Jade Cargill's character. Okay, I just keep when I saw her hit that finisher, I kept thinking of feed me more, kind of like the Ryback thing, because they just got her so dominant, which is fine. But I still I don't know. I want to see Jade in peril, at least a little bit. Maybe when she goes against Bianca, maybe they'll do that. Maybe that's the plan for SummerSlam, which is fine. But I don't know. I expected a little bit more Chelsea running away from her, let's just say. I didn't expect such a squash match. But it may have been the 45 minutes at the beginning of the show that probably screwed that over.
Yeah, I feel like The Rock going over probably screwed this match. It probably wasn't supposed to be a squash match, I will say, yes, Chelsea Green is a former tag team champion, but she's also the fourth woman to hold both the WWE women's tag titles and the Knockouts tag titles.
True. It's true.
I also say Chelsea should win a Queen of the Ring gimmick to fit her gimmick and blame The Rock.
That'd be perfect.
Queen of the Ring would be absolutely perfect for her. I could totally picture her wearing that crown, and just like it would be such a huge fit for her.
I would agree.
Yeah. All right, we're going to stop there because we already talked about the main event. So, Raw After Mania, on a scale from a 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, what would you rank tonight's show?
I hate to say it, I'm going to give it a 6. I did not feel the energy at all. Triple H coming out was probably the biggest energy of the entire night. To me, at least it felt like that. And again, it could have been the arena was different. It's a small arena, right? But for me, I did not feel like, yes, they tried to establish this as the Paul Levesque era, but I don't know. Place these matches in the promos 2 months ago, and it doesn't feel like the Raw After Mania. I did not feel the energy from the crowd from Philly like I expected. I just didn't.
Okay. I have to slightly disagree with you. I actually did enjoy tonight's Raw. Compared to last year, and I was there last year, I know. This was a much, 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 much better Raw After Mania. If I would have gone to this Raw After Mania, I wouldn't be complaining about wanting my money back.
You know, it was weird. We didn't see Seth, Roman, or Gunther.
I think Seth's taking time off. I think it's rumored that he's taking time off.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. But still, it was a little bizarre, I've got to admit. But again, it is what it is, right? We move on and move forward in the Levesque era.
So some of the things that I like was I really like the presentation of the NXT call-ups. I like the fact that they won their matches. They didn't lose. They were 2 for 2. I like the fact that people knew who they were without that video package, video presentation. Even I knew who they were.
Yeah. I mean, there was some good spots. Don't get me wrong. I just did not feel like that Raw After Mania energy. But again, in comparing it to last year, of course, you know, nothing's going to beat last year's terrible, awful, no good, you know, Raw After Mania. But I don't know. Again, SmackDown could be much better. It just, again, I think the Rock's thing kind of killed it because it went so long.
I'm going to give this an 8. I'm going to be generous and give this an 8. I did enjoy tonight's show, but I will say that Rock segment went a little too long. You could have had that. You could cut like 20 minutes off that whole segment.
Easily. Well, because again, I think he kept stalling, kind of looking like. I get the idea of it being an epic reaction to The Rock, but you know, comparing it to Roman's, this is my yard now, and that was perfect because I'm like, okay, great, we're good. So I don't know. It makes sense logically, but I still think the heel should not want to fight Cody Rhodes, regardless of what he did.
We'll see. We'll see what eventually happens. Yes. All right, Josh, as we get ready to wrap up, where can people find you?
Again, just on Exit Gamer Peroski, and then again, of course, you know, on some simulcast with you, and as well as the new NXT review show weekly, coming from me under the A Plus Hero Report, the WrestleManiacs podcast. So I'm getting pumped and excited for that to start. The NXT After Mania should be hopefully good.
NXT After Sign and Deliver, as you mean.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes.
All right. As for myself, you can follow me on Twitter at the Tilton Square. Talk all things wrestling, WWE, AEW, TNA. For all things TNA, check out Body Slam Live every Thursday. As like Josh alluded to, tomorrow, exclusively on A Plus Hero Report, because I don't want to give people false aspirations. I'll be doing NXT. Josh will be reviewing NXT After Stand and Deliver, and I'll be joining him. After that, I'll be coming back here on Wednesday to do the review for AEW Dynamite. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching, for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live or release a new video. We'll see you guys tomorrow on A Plus Hero Report for the NXT Fallout from Stand and Deliver. Bye.
See ya.